Hey guys, happy Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, October 8th, 2019. Big shout out to my friend, Linda Sampieri. It's her birthday today. You probably know Linda. This is my dear friend. Hey Nadia, what's up? Dear friend, Carolann Flesch. Look what she brought today. We are gonna wear these tiaras like nobody's business. Most of you have seen me in one, so I'm sure you're not shocked. Very excited about the topic, excited for you guys to hear her journey. She's got a great journey, a great story, so let us know you can hear us or see us. We got a Nadia there, so I'm sure we're okay. She would be telling us right now if we weren't. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I'm excited. So we've been trying to do this for a while. You have a great story. You have a great topic, 7 healthy steps. You have real estate ministries in there. I love to use the word ministry when we're talking about business. No matter what you're doing something in your ministry, whatever your beliefs are. And so I absolutely love everything that we're going to talk about today. And I love the fact that we are wearing crowns. Hi, Leslie. What's up?
Hi, Leslie.
We love some Leslie. We love Nadia. Oh, look. See? You like the crown, Leslie? Kevin Johnson says, have her do a rap for you. It's amazing. What's up, Kevin? Oh, she's been so nervous, Kevin. It's been crazy, poor thing. All right, so let's start with your journey. Maybe we'll get to your rap. Let's start with your journey. Tell them a little bit about you. It's always fascinating to learn about people that you think you know, and then maybe people know bits and pieces, but they haven't heard it from the horse's mouth yet. So welcome.
Okay, so first, thank you for having me on the show. I'm really honored. I'm humbled to be on the Great TED Show. So I'm a little nervous. I'm a little excited. I'm really excited, actually.
Don't be nervous. You're golden.
Okay.
You look great.
Thank you. So I grew up in Philly, outside of Philly, and as a teenager moved to Chicago suburbs. My dad had a transfer, and that's where I met the love of my life, my husband, Rick. I was 15, he was 16. We were high school sweethearts. We just had our 40th wedding anniversary.
That's unbelievable. You have known each other that long.
46 years. He's been my boyfriend for 46 years.
Oh, I love that. I love stories like that.
So he is the love of my life. He is like the team leader with Rick and Carolann. And we lived in Chicago, got married, had 2 kids. I was not supposed to be able to have children, so I'm kind of a God's girl. I prayed every night. I prayed my heart out from the time I was 18 when I found out I would never have children, till I got pregnant about 8 weeks after our wedding.
Amazing. Oh, and Shannon says, hi, Mom.
Oh, hi, Shannon. She's my first miracle baby, and I love
Shannon,
her.
miracle baby.
I love her. She's awesome. So shout out to Shannon. She's also the boob guru. She's a lactation consultant and teaches childbirth classes. So she's pretty awesome. The boob guru is the name of her business, the boob guru.
That's awesome,
and
Shannon.
And she is a boob guru. So thanks for tuning in. So all of my prayers were I would take any baby that God would give me, even if it was handicapped or whatever. My prayers got like ridiculous, begging, and as I started to pray more, I'm like, I would love to have this little girl named Shannon, which obviously she is here. And then as my prayers went on, I'm like, I would love to have 2 kids. I would love to have 2 little girls. And I got the desire of my heart. I have Shannon and Aaron, perfect, beautiful daughters, against all odds that I was not supposed to have them. And we had a great life in Chicago and ended up moving to Orlando in 1991.
What did you move here for?
We moved here because I had a successful real estate brokerage up there. I had been with Remax. I'd been with Better Homes and Gardens up there. And then went on my own, had like my own small little brokerage. And my husband lost his job at the time, and he was really big into travel, and we had done several fam trips to Orlando and Disney. He was invited down. I got to come a couple times. My daughter Shannon was actually on the Youth Advisory Council for the Walt Disney World Dolphin, so they flew us down here out of the cold winter a couple times when she was like 10, 11 years old, and we kind of got used to Orlando and loved it. My parents lived over in St. Pete. They had finally moved down to St. Pete, so it was like, you know what? You're not working right now. I can go anywhere. Let's just do it.
I love it.
Best decision we ever made.
And so you get down here. What was that like?
We didn't know anybody. It was just the 4 of us.
Was that hard building a real estate business back up when you don't know anyone?
It was, to the point that when I found out the licensing rules back then, I'm like, well, I'm a broker there. Can't I just take a broker test here?
Right.
And no, you have to go to real estate school all over again. You have to be a salesperson for back then 2 years. Then you have to take the broker's thing. So I was a little hesitant. I was a little bit bugged about that. But I ended up working for a property manager, doing her books, and I've always kind of had that real estate mind. And finally, it's like, okay, I'm going to do it. I actually got hired on as a trainer for an ERA.
Awesome.
And I went in there starting to do that, and I thought, what am I doing? This is a different market. I don't know the area. I don't know the neighborhoods. How can I train these agents if things are different here? There's a lot. It's a different biome.
It's completely different, guys.
Yeah.
It really is. We have a unique market here.
So I decided it wasn't going to be fair to be training those agents if I was didn't know all the norms of the area, because it was totally different.
Right.
I felt like I had actually landed on Mars compared to how they did real estate in Chicago. So it was a little bit of a shock to me. And so I'm like, okay, let me just go into real estate. And I started with a Prudential, which I don't think is around anymore.
I remember Prue.
Good old Mr. Gallagher on Fairbanks is where I put my license first. And then I went to a Century 21 O'Daniel, which he then dissolved that and bought Century 21 Oviedo. And then after that, I got my own brokerage.
How'd you build, though? Give people, because I think there's a lot of, we'll just talk about businesses in general.
Sure.
So you're starting out, you have an idea, you're a realtor, you're a broker, but you come into a market and once you tap out of your friends and family, maybe you don't even have those here, you have to start fresh. And I think a lot of people struggle with that when they're going through business, real estate people especially.
Yes. Well, it really, a lot of it started from my church. We had found a church. We were looking for a church because the two main things, we did not really miss much about Chicago at all, except we missed our church, which was Willow Creek Community Church, awesome church. We missed our church, and we missed the deep dish Lumalnati's pizza. And if anybody
do we
knows
have
me,
that anymore?
If anybody knows me, they know my Lumalnati's, my deep dish Chicago pizza.
What about here? Do you get any? I know we're going off tangent, but do we have any down in Orlando?
No, we don't. And they just went to Phoenix. I'm like, why don't you come to Orlando? We have a family tradition. We started, my husband's a jokester, and it started as a joke 7 years ago, where he's like, he loves to cook. He shops and he cooks, and he's famous for his turkey stuffing dressing. And one year he said, hey, I talked to one of our daughters, and I said, I was joking with her saying, hey, we're not going to have turkey this year. We're going to order in Lou Malnati's pizza. And she said, yeah, let's do it. He's like, can you believe it? And I'm like, oh my God, that's an awesome idea. He's like, you too? He's funny. And I said, yeah, let's do it. He's like, oh, the other daughter's not going to do it. So I'm like, let's call her. So we called her up, and he's like, he pulled his thing oh, we're not going to do turkey this year. We're going to bring in Lou Malnati's pizza. And she's like, oh my God, that's great. And he was like, are you kidding me? And then he said, your mother will never go for it. I said, let's call her. So I put her on speakerphone, and I said, hey Mom, I just, got some bad news. We're not going to do turkey for Thanksgiving this year. We're going to order in Lou Malnati's deep dish pizza. And she's like, oh my God, that's a great idea. So he was stuck with it. It backfired on him, and we had to do it.
Did you actually order it?
Yeah.
How did you get it here?
They bring it in on dry ice in these big foam things.
Oh, that's so cool.
So that has become our new Thanksgiving tradition.
I love that idea.
This will be our 7th year.
You have to send me that link.
Yeah, and each year as people heard it, they're like, pizza? And I'm like, oh, this isn't just pizza. This is special.
They bring it thankful. In on dry ice.
Yeah, so each year people are like, order one for me. And once you order 8, the price goes down 1 to 2 to 3.
Sure.
Once you order 8, whether you order 8 or 60, it's the same price.
Listen, I think we're all looking for something that's a little different. I'm a little tired of the whole turkey thingy. All right, so building your business.
Yeah, so building my business. So getting involved with our church.
Right.
We were really searching for a church. It started out very small. I think we were the first 8 people that started it, but really had relationships. And as I was starting the real estate, I was the real estate person.
So you had a point of reference. I think a lot of people, you were involved in something extracurricular.
Yes.
I think a lot of people who are going into business, they don't realize that they can utilize that. Or some of them, the younger crowd especially, I feel like a lot of them don't have a church home or a social network outside of game playing, or there's got to be something. So when you build, you have to think about how to get out in your community, whatever that looks like for you, because you can't just do it sitting on your PS4 24 to 25, whatever it's called. You have to get out and get involved. And I think a lot of people are afraid of that.
Yeah, and I was also very involved with the schools. I was like a little worried about the schools we came from versus, what the schools were like here.
Rightly
so I was PTA. I ended up being PTA president in middle school and elementary school.
Surprised?
I was SAC advisory council, and then I ended up actually becoming a substitute even when I was doing my real estate, because when you're a substitute teacher, you get to sit in the break room with the teachers, and you get to know a little more to help guide your kids through. I wanted my kids to have like the best of the best. They had been in gifted, and they didn't really have gifted programs down here.
No, we had a little bit of a chat. What you were an Orange or Seminole?
Orange.
Yeah.
Orange.
So talk about how you got into, because obviously this subject is 7 healthy steps. So why healthy? What's going on? I know a little bit, but share about, first of all, why did you pick that title? And then talk about the whole health side of your life and your world. Because it's completely, even though you intertwine them so well and it seems seamless, they really are, for most people who go, I had no idea what you had been through, what you do, the things that you do, and the things that you're involved in outside of real estate.
Okay. So, grow up, I was not the most athletic kid, but I was pretty healthy. And I was just recently thinking about this, and I kind of still put two things together about a couple months ago because of my doula training.
What's a doula?
A doula is not a midwife. She's some kind of on the other end. A doula is a woman that comes alongside a mom while she's in active labor and gives her physical, emotional comfort to help her through the labor. The statistics are labor is a lot quicker and a lot easier, a lot less C-sections, a lot less other things when you have a doula there. The doula does not take place of the partner,
right,
who is like the birth coach, but the doula is somebody who's trained. We're trained in watching for symptoms. We're trained in evidence-based things, which a lot of births are not evidence-based. They're more based on liability of the doctors and the hospitals.
Sure.
But we're more evidence-based, and we kind of know our stuff, and we educate our moms. We help. We're not officially supposed to be advocates, but kind of in a quiet way, we're advocates for the moms.
Well, that's somebody there who is. They're there to help you through. So, I don't know how I can use the word advocate. So that would be somebody that's somebody who's trying to get you through the process in the most productive way for you and for the baby. But how do you get into that? What was the impetus to get you involved?
Well, I started out a long time ago when I was in high school. I wanted to be a doctor, and I wanted to be either a pediatrician or OB because I love babies and kids and things like that. And life just takes you on a different journey. It doesn't always work out, especially since I got married and pregnant right away, which was like awesome. That kind of threw out the idea of going to medical school and stuff like that.
Right.
But always kind of in the back of my head, it was something I was always interested in. I'm an empath. I feel other people's kind of emotional and physical pain. I'm always trying to help. I always want to make people feel better. So it was kind of a natural thing for me, like want to be a healer.
Right.
But life just took me on a different path, which is okay. God's in control of this stuff. And through the years, about 20 years ago, which I call just my own ministry before I even got real estate ministry, I had several pregnant moms come to me and ask me for abortion money, and that's just something that my heart just can't, having carried 2 babies, I just can't go that way. But I didn't want to be like, no, you can't have an abortion. I wanted to be like, let me help you.
Right.
Let me help you however I can get through this. It's only like 8 more months. Let me help you. So I had taken on 3 moms, single moms, and like, let me pay for your doctor, let me pay for your vitamins, let me help one of them, let me help you keep your secret from your family, which is a little bit of that's another story, but like in working to help her keep her secret, that's kind of one of the reasons I'm a little bit overweight now, because it's a long story. But anyway, let me help you keep your secret, let me do what it'll do to make you comfortable and to find a place for this baby. So kind of in a roundabout way, since I had the most wonderful births, I had like awful sick pregnancies, but I had like the most amazing births compared to most people I talked to. So I came along these moms, unofficially trained as a doula, to help them through, like be there every step of the way. And I loved it. And birth is such a miraculous thing. I've done it twice.
So you
I
do
still
this
can't.
now both, so you have real estate, and you, because at one of the events we were at, I think it was Linda Guzman and Lulu's event.
Oh, I hadn't slept for 72 hours.
Slept for 72 hours because you had an active mom to be, who you were trying to get through the process, because labor obviously it's intense. I experienced it from the dude's side. I didn't experience it from Stacy's side.
Right.
But so you had not had any sleep, and yet you were there talking about, we had oils we were talking about before too, which is the health. And I want to get to the health really quick because that's the topic, right?
Okay.
So was it 7 healthy tips?
Yeah, I started this website. I actually started it before I got sick last year, so I haven't really updated it. But my journey, I think back from my pregnancies actually caused some issues, and for years and years and years, I had fatigue, like terrible fatigue, and I had terrible pain, joint pain, like just to move was very, very painful. But I'm 100% Irish, and my grandparents are all from Ireland, and they were kind of like, suck it up. They had rheumatism and all this other stuff, and they're like, you got to keep on moving, just suck it up. Don't be belly aching and feeling sorry for yourself. So that's kind of the way I was raised. So, I've kind of done that. When you have kids and you have a business, you just got to suck it up and keep going. And part of it was I went from doctor to doctor to doctor, and doctors just didn't listen to me. 10 minutes, they wouldn't listen to me, and they're like, here's a prescription for a pain pill. Here's a prescription for an anti-inflammatory. Here's one for muscle relaxers. And every time I would go, it was because I would have like really acute pain. And I might take the prescription for a couple days, but I'm like, this is making me nuts. I got to be in bed when I'm taking.
You could tell it wasn't feeling well.
Yeah, so it's like, all right, I got me over like the really bad stuff, but I just have to go through it. So I was in like constant pain for probably 25, 30 years. And you just suck it up, and you have some bad days and some good days, and we've talked about that.
Right.
Some days, the good thing about real estate is like you can cancel an appointment, or if you're having a really bad day, like I'm just going to stay home and be on the couch.
Correct.
But you can't get stuck in that. You got to be like, I got to suck it up, and I have to get out there. And sorry, I'm banging the counter
since the beginning.
I know. So after like feeling just really devastated, and when you're constantly battling fatigue, I was told back in the 80s maybe I had chronic fatigue syndrome. I'm like, well, what do we do to fix that? There's no cure. Okay, well then I reject it. I don't have it. Then I go, it's like, well, you have fibromyalgia. Okay, well, what do we do to fix that? Well, there is no cure.
Right.
Well, then I reject it. Then I don't have it. I was told all kinds of different things because they couldn't figure out what it was. And I've kind of learned that the medical profession, if they can't figure out what it is, then it's your fault. Then it's in your head. You're the crazy
they don't
one.
give you any really great solutions.
Yeah. So I went through a couple times being told by doctors, like, well, that's just what it is. And, you get a little depressed. And when you're dealing with constant pain and fatigue, it just makes you more tired, and it makes you a little depressed.
Sure.
So I've gone through like periods of being like really depressed, like, is this my life? And probably around in my 50s, I finally, one day I had closed my real estate brokerage, King's Real Estate. I closed it down. I had a lot of different traumas, and I was just done. And I thought, I guess this is just old age, God. And then I looked at my friend who was out running every morning, like 10, 20 miles every day. And she's like 7 years older than me. And I'm like, wait a minute.
That's painful.
This isn't old age. Like, how come she can do it?
Right.
So I really prayed a lot, and I'm like, God, I know you can heal me like instantly and fix everything, give me energy. I really believe that, but I believe in your will. So please heal me immediately. But if that's not your will to do that, because we have life lessons, we learn things, please send me help. So I started on a journey, and I started studying. I discovered energy medicine, which I really didn't know what it was.
So what is energy medicine?
So energy medicine is basically ancient. It's been around for thousands and thousands of years, okay? It's more Eastern medicine rather than the Western allopathic medicine. And it's basically, every time I say this to people, I feel like, oh my God, I used to think people that said what I said are hippies. And they're like,
I like the word hippies.
Yeah. And I used to think like, oh, they don't know what they're doing. It's all about science, and I'm like a real science girl.
So what is it?
So everything has a vibration. Everything is energy in the whole universe. And your body has energy. It uses electromagnetic energy. Your heart, you need to put the electrical paddles on. So it's energy. And when your cells get below about 55 megahertz, that's when disease sets in. And when your cells are vibrating at about 25 megahertz, you're dead. And that confused me because I'm thinking like 0. But
sure, 0 sounds what I'd be doing.
Right, but if you remember from like 8th grade, like science, physics, when they talk about atoms and everything is vibrating and moving around, and I remember the nuns telling me like, the wooden desk is all these little atoms that are all excited and they're moving around. I'm like, no, but it's solid. I didn't get it, right? But when you really start studying physics and quantum physics, I started like researching into quantum physics. Everything is moving, everything has a vibration. So it makes sense if a wooden desk is vibrating still at a certain thing, then it does make sense that when your cells are at like 25.
So how do they get so depleted?
Disease, oxygen, blood flow, different things like that. So for instance, when I was studying, I read a really neat thing, and this is what got me into the essential oils, because that was part of it. I was learning all that stuff, but there really is something to it. So anybody that's like, I used to be and think that's crazy, like study the science, it really is like that. So, your energy has to flow, just think of electric circuits, in the building and lights and stuff like that. If a wire's not that great or it's weak or the insulation isn't good, it starts to not, the light won't flow as well as it normally would. So the same thing happens with your body. And when I was reading about a thing about, like they actually showed a thing that if you cut your finger, so let's say your cells in your finger are resonating at about 68, 70 megahertz in each cell, and then you cut your finger, okay, so that's an injury.
Right.
All of those cells around there might drop down into the 50s. And of course, you got your immune system, and it sells the white blood cells to work on infection, and it works on healing. So they've actually done tests where the energy might not be in the 70s, it might be in the 50s, right around that energy, because it's all the cells. And then they were talking about essential oils, which have very high, each one has its own
What's an
signature.
essential oil?
So an essential oil is it's an oil that runs through the plant. And I used to think every plant had essential oils, but I've gotten certified as an essential oil coach. Not every plant has essential oils, but it's the defense mechanism of the plant. Like our blood is our defense mechanism. We've got the white blood cells that go around, look for infection and healing and stuff. In the plants, the essential oils are the communication system and the defense system for the plants. So it's amazing. There's you can go onto YouTube and watch a video, The Secret Life of Plants and things like that. It's amazing once I got into it. But the essential oils, they'll change per season. The essential oils with the plant, they're very intelligent. The plant can tell by the atmosphere, the amount of rain, stuff like that. It can kind of tell that maybe a certain kind of a pest is going to come, or a certain kind of fungus is going to come, and those essential oils will change a little bit to protect that plant. So if those pests come, and they actually give out information to other plants. So the essential oils are the actual oils that come from the plants.
So cool.
That help work with our body. And God did say in the Old Testament, let the fruit be thy food and let the plants be thy medicine. And he created our bodies, he created the plants. When we use the essential oils, our receptors in our body know how to recognize them.
So how did you know so the oils, if I'm going to summarize a little bit, the oils help bring up the energy.
Yes, each one has its own energy signature, but if I put a drop of lavender oil in my hand, one drop has 40 million trillion particles, which they're so tiny they get right through your skin. That's why you don't see an oily residue. They get right through your skin, right into your blood. They actually get right through the cell membrane.
So
they
cool.
actually get in there. And what they do is they have this higher frequency. So when they get into every cell in your body, they're raising the frequency of that cell.
How do you know how to use that? Because that's my confusion, right? So I want to learn more from you, and we may have to do a second show, obviously.
Okay.
But I think people have heard about essential oils,
right.
And I know they've heard about energy, and I think most people understand that that's a reality. It's not just some hocus pocus by hippies.
Right.
But they don't know how to maneuver through it because there's certain people, you know, just like every other business or every other thing,
Right.
there's certain charlatans out there.
Sure.
And then they also don't know what's good for what malady that they have.
Okay, so the basic, they are very intuitive. And I know that sounds hippie-like too. They are very intuitive. Before I got in and ordered all the books and all the science and started reading all of this constituents, the polyphenols, the terpenes, all these other things, and I know probably more about the essential oils than the average person cares to know about. So if you have a question, just call me and I won't bore you with the details. I'll just help you with it. But I ordered like every book I could find on the science. I'm a researcher. I love to research. I always question things. And I don't take things lightly. If somebody tells me something, I'll listen to it. I'm like, I'm going to research and make sure that's true.
As you should.
So they're very intuitive, and I found that out. I was told that kind of by the hippie people, but it turns out it's true. So before I actually started learning, when somebody came to me and they're like, oh, I'm dealing with this and this and this, like oils would pop into my mind. And I'm like, well, here, let me share this, this, and this. And then 6 months later, I'm reading about something. I'm like, oh my God, I picked out the right oils. So it's like an energy thing. I can't explain it. It's part of a God thing. I think the way he made everything go together. But here's the thing. There are certain oils that have more constituents for inflammation or for energy or for your brain chemicals and things like that. But here's the thing. Every essential oil is anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral, and there's one more I always forget the fifth one. I always never get them in the order. But every oil has those properties. Some are a little higher on this one, some are a little higher on that one. So basically, you really can't go wrong.
I was going to say, so you can't go wrong, but isn't it? But so it's trial and error sometimes.
Well, there's things out there that people know. We eat in a restaurant and they give us peppermints, right? Why do they give us peppermints? Because peppermint has got, hopefully, the peppermint has the peppermint oil in it. Peppermint is great for your digestive system. That's why they give you peppermints. Peppermint.
I thought they gave it to us because there's too many onions and whatever.
Yeah,
we were
well, you could think that, but peppermint is a natural thing that goes with digestion, and it helps you. Peppermint is great for. That's one of my. I've got my little purse. I carry 7 oils with me at all times. So there's certain things that are better for this or for other, but here's the general thing among the oilers in the community. Use what you got. If you don't have the one that you want, or you don't have it there, use what you got, because it's still going to help. There might be one that might work a little better, but use what you got. There's a couple things. Wintergreen, which is made from the white willow bark, usually has a safety cap. Wintergreen is great for discomfort things and other things.
But what if somebody wants, because we're way out of time.
Okay, sorry.
So don't be sorry. I'm fascinated by this, but I want people to be able to know that you don't have to remember everything.
Right.
You can actually reach out to Carolann. We're going to share all of her contact information, because if you want to learn more about any of this spectrum, I'm fascinated by oils. I'd love to do a whole show on that. I love the whole energy discussion because I'm a big believer in that as well. But I think that most people get caught up in, oh my God, it feels like there's 750 oils to choose from, and I don't know what to do, therefore I'm going to do nothing. This is what I think people do. They, instead of going, okay, I'm going to research it, you dive in and research it. You don't know somebody or have access to somebody like Carolann, who's certified in it. Then you go, never mind, it's too much. I'll spray some lavender on me the next time at some perfume place. It's not the same. So if you're interested in learning more about the essential oils, doula, real estate, energy, all this fascinating stuff. So we have to have you come back on, and we'll do maybe a demo we'll talk about the oils, maybe have that as the show.
Okay.
Carolann's accessible. So you see how she's sharing from her heart. That's how she is normally. It's not just for the show. So she's going to share all of her website, her Facebook page, whatever's the easiest way to get a hold of her on all of the spectrum of the things that she does, because she really just does want you to heal. She wants you to get relief, and she wants you to be living your best life. This isn't fake stuff, and there's so many amazing things that she does, and she's got the experience and has seen it happen. All right, so again, we're going to share all of that. See how fast it goes?
I know.
You were worried,
really
right?
Like,
you were so worried. And you did a phenomenal job, by the way.
Thank you.
Share with them somebody who's made an impact on your life. We love to talk about mentors on the show. Give a shout out. Today's Gratitude Tuesday on the TED Show. So it's always cool to hear someone say it out loud, somebody who helped you along the way.
Okay. I'm crowded with like so many that I can't like really put it all together. But number one, my husband, Rick, my boyfriend.
Your boyfriend.
He's my best friend. He's my teammate. And I've kind of go out there in front and I go with ideas. And he helps center me. And he helps, like, I can bounce things off of him. And a lot of times he's like, yeah, go for it. He's my biggest support. So without him, I wouldn't be me. And my daughters, the same thing. They really help keep me grounded because I have lots of ideas and lots of energy. And they kind of give me feedback, and they're awesome. They're awesome. And I really trust and appreciate them. Even though they're my kids, sometimes they're more like the mother,
Sure.
with me.
Of course.
And I've had so many great real estate mentors. Like, I can't even think of all the names. Like Eileen Ginsberg back in Chicago, long time ago, took a chance on me when I didn't think I could do real estate. And I was going to be part-time. I worked in a grocery store. And she said, I'm taking you part-time, even though we don't take part-timers. And if it wasn't for Eileen Ginsberg, I don't know where I would.
Changed your life, right?
Yes, she did. So she's the first one that came to mind when it comes to
that.
real estate, because I didn't think I could do it and I wouldn't be good enough at it. And she saw something in me that I hadn't seen yet when I was like 25 years old.
Everybody who comes and talks about their mentor, every story has they saw something in me. And I think that's so powerful. I think we need to be more in tune with that. And that's why I love for you guys to share, and I appreciate you sharing on the show that, because I think we need to take more chances on people and stop burying our heads in our PS4s and our TVs, and really try to help nurture people along, because you had that chance. Somebody gave it to you. Trust me, they did. At some point in time, you're going to think about it. And so we need to be better at giving people an opportunity. You're a joy.
Thank you.
Amazing. Thanks for the tiara. I don't know if I ever want to take it off.
You wear it well.
I'm going to wear it well. You're amazing, and I love your energy, and I love your spirit, and I love that you show a lot of love in everything that you say. And so that's the real Carolann. So reach out to her. We'll share all her contact information. You guys have a great day. I'm in Miami a lot of this week, so you'll see some live stuff from down there that we don't have scheduled, but we will definitely be going live from Miami. So stay tuned, and thanks for tuning in to the TED Show with Carolann Flesch. Mwah! We love you guys.
Oh, that wasn't even planned.